Today started out as the best day of my life. I did it! I got the gig!
Must have been sudden for you.
What? Oh my goodness!
Thank you guys for joining us for another movie Lingo discussion. I'm excited. I have the Dad Panther. I have Everything's Okay, and of course the beautiful Iris. You guys say hello.
Hey.
Yo, what's up?
And today in the new year, Happy New Year to everyone. Movie Lingo is back again for popular demand because everybody loved us being back together. So I'm happy that we're able to keep this going. Today we're going to talk about Disney Pixar's Soul, starring Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, and a few other names that I'm sure you guys recognize, but I'm not going to go down the list. This is going to be a quick but spoiler-filled conversation. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's available on Disney Plus, and it's available on other platforms on demand, and then come back and watch this review. But right now, we're going to just pretty much dive right in. For those of you that have seen it, I am going to give a little short synopsis. We didn't do that last time because it was Wonder Woman. It's just like, yes, Wonder Woman, we know. But Disney Pixar's Soul actually, you know, the trailers make you feel like it's just like a more like a life after death type, or, you know, achieving your dreams, but really the true moral of the story, it just really gives you a true definition of the difference. It separates passion and purpose. It really helps you understand that there's a difference in both of those, and both of those are important to each person, but passion is often mistaken for purpose. And that's pretty much what this movie is like. You know, like whatever your passion is isn't what you are about. You can still enjoy life in different ways. You still have a different purpose despite what your passion is. And I thought that was pretty cool, even though it was that wasn't how it was marketed. All right, so let's get into this really quick. You know, I'm going to go through everybody real quick. I want to know how you felt on the movie, and then I got 3 questions for you, and then we're going to rate it. All right, and I want to start based on how it is on my screen. I'm going to start with Everything's Okay. Tell me how you felt about Soul.
You know, I felt Souls was like one of the best Pixar movies I've ever seen when he really come down to see its overall message. Also, for the adults out there, it's something I would have liked to have been like on a little psychedelic on. It's a good movie, you know.
You wish you were in a different place, you know, on a different level.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of trippy animation in there, and you know, it did a good job of blending that hipster side and real world and kids, and you know, pretty good movie. I like this movie a lot.
It was a good movie. I'm glad you thought so. Okay, so Iris, please tell me what you thought about Soul. How did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed it. I do 100% believe though that it really, like, the storyline and what the movie is trying to the message that it's trying to send, it really isn't for kids though.
That's gonna be my first question.
It's not a kids movie. And you know, I think like Disney tries to send these types of messages out subliminally, like to kids, like, oh, it's a cartoon, I want to watch it, and then not knowing the message is being sent to them, but it's being embedded into their head, you know. Right. You know, but I really enjoyed the movie. I was so moving. There were parts where I was like, and then I'd have to say my favorite character out of the whole movie was Jerry.
Was Jerry the one that was spinning the sign?
Jerry is
no, Jerry is the little, like,
the one that was counting them.
Yeah, there it goes.
Okay,
no, is it Jerry? No, his name is Terry. Jerry are the good ones, that they're really sweet.
Right. And
then Terry is the little numbers pain in the ass accountant.
So that was your favorite, okay.
Yes, he was such an asshole. I love him.
Remind you of a rap. Thank you, Dad Panther. Listen, Dad Panther, tell me how you feel about. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna edit that out because that made me look really stupid. All right, so Dad Panther, tell me how you feel about the movie, please, sir, before I get into my question.
Thank you. I think it was one of the best movies that Pixar has done in their 20 plus years as a studio. Like Iris said before, and you guys said, it was not a kids movie in any aspect whatsoever. Watching it with kids, they liked the visualization of what they saw, but they, and give or take what their age was, you know, their comprehension skills, they didn't get what it was. It was almost like parents were lured into watching this, and then you're drawn in and you're just kind of like, wait, they're talking about me. And so the messages were true for a lot of people. I love the ending, and we'll get more into it, but I love the open ending conversation, like what we're going to have a conversation what possibly this movie can be. Visually, music wise, it captured the culture that was not only jazz or music, but people of color. The
Yes.
the skin textures and the facial recognition to be like, it's not big nose, it's not dark where you can't see the caramels and the dark browns and the black. Like everyone in there, like the minority was anyone that wasn't a person of color, whether it was Latin. It just everything was infused that New York style, but the wool on the hair and the costume, just again visually, it looked like something I've never seen before that Pixar did as far as stepping the game up. So I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Well, the main character did have a big nose.
I mean, but not all of them.
He did, but what I mean, you'll watch
I was like,
and it's like every character is stereotypically cut and paste the same. And you can see that they incorporated talking to the community and saying, hey, listen, this is what we need to I guess take this movie to another level. And like I said, yeah, you'll have the big character that had, the main character has some characteristics, but again, a lot of different characters, different colors, different shades, different hair textures. It just, like Kamar said, like it just had a visual and a sound to it. Just was on a whole nother level.
Definitely. And I was glad that they took the time to do an animation. I thought the movie was very good. But now you guys both touched on two questions that I have. Iris, you touched on one. The Dad Path, you touched on another, which was the ending. But we'll talk about first. And I'll start with you, Iris, so you can finish your point. My question was, is this really a kid's movie? And you've already expressed that you didn't really think it was. I don't either. I don't see where at any point where a kid could relate. So I'm interested in hearing you guys' opinion, starting with you, Iris. Do you feel that this was, you said you didn't feel this was a kid's movie. Do you want to elaborate on that more?
No. Well, to be honest with you, I think what Disney tries to do when they make movies that send messages, I think it's because they want to touch different demographics, because if it was basically just a movie just for kids that didn't really send a deep message that adults can relate to, with COVID going on, parents would be like, you know what, we could wait, because I know they just started opening up theaters and things like that. Even though I think Soul came out prior to theaters starting to open up, or was it during the same time? Something like that.
It was right at the same time.
Okay, so I feel like because they're trying to pull different demographics to watch their movies, if it didn't have a message that was relatable, kids, they'll pay attention to a movie for like 10-15 minutes and they want to change the channel, stuff like that. So to really sit down and have a family moment, with not just your kids but with the parents and as well, I think they did do a good job trying to put relatable adult situations in it, along with cute things that the kids would want to pay attention to.
Like the cat.
Exactly, like the cat. And the difference between the Jerrys and Terry, and the students, because all kids, they go through that awkward stage where they're still trying to figure out what they like to do, and not be made fun of, so even tweens, they can connect to that situation as well. So I wouldn't say no, it's not a kids movie, but it isn't an adult movie either. It's a good even blend to keep everyone attracted to the movie.
Okay, well, I'm gonna change it up a bit when I move on to the next one, because in the past, Disney Pixar has always given us, like Monsters Inc., 100% kids movie, but there are jokes in there for the adults, right? To keep us entertained, but the kids don't know we're laughing at. But over the years, like Inside Out, it seems like they're maturing in the story now. I'm kind of changing up my question here, because I feel like we all kind of agree it's not 100% a kids movie. But I'm going to start with you, Dad Panther, on this one. Do you feel like that Disney, Pixar are growing with that same audience and maturing in their movies? Because it seems like before they would give you straight kids movies with jokes that were over the kids' heads. But as they kept making more movies, it starts to become more mature, more mature, more mature. Is Disney Pixar trying to grow with their core audience, or are they just change? Anyway, what do you think is happening there?
I think honestly, what we're seeing is probably whether it's Disney or Pixar, them taking another audience when it comes to movies. With the technology the way it is now, I would not be surprised if an Oscar nominated or even winning Pixar movie is a complete drama with whoever you think is the best artist, as far as a man or woman, acting out emotional roles where you're sitting there seeing something like, I mean, I can't think of whatever your favorite movie is. Can you imagine if that was 100% Pixar style, where it wasn't live action? If the emotion is real, if the storyline is real, and you say just for adults, then you can still pull it off. As far as are they moving to that route? I don't think so. I think we just haven't noticed the transition they've been doing for a long time. Like you said, movies like Zootopia has been doing it, Finding Nemo. A lot of these movies and television shows are doing both. But if you remember when they used to put the short in front of the movies, there were always something, even if it was the story about the birds, the story about the beach, the story about the volcano. They were always doing something. Yeah, they would always do something that would grab, and a lot of these won awards where it would grab attention of anyone who's an adult, but still captivate a child or a young adult. And I think that's what happened on this one. I think it basically was they've always been making this transition. And it also goes with the director. I believe the same director who did this one is the same one who did Inside Out. And he wrote this about 2 years after. So the development that he had with him and Tina Fey, I think this is a transition where it was like, not only, hey, look, we've been doing serious, but we're going to go a little deeper into it, because when I was doing Inside Out, I still had this concept of the afterlife. And I think that's what the continuation. So I think it's a mixture of both, and whoever's in charge of the project.
Okay. All right. Everything's okay. I'm gonna move on to the next question for you.
All right.
All right. My next question was, in this movie, after you watch it, was the message clear to you? Like in the beginning, I said that this movie basically defines that passion is often misunderstood for purpose, and there is a total difference between the two. Your passion can be whatever, but that doesn't mean that's your purpose. Was that message really clear to you when you finish this movie? What did you take from it?
Fresh off the movie, it just had me, thinking about passion and purpose. But it's funny you say it, because I didn't exactly conceptualize like that point of the movie until you said it in the synopsis just now. So what I really felt at the end of the movie was just like, wow, they just described life.
Right.
And it kind of, I don't know, it's refreshing to see that on a Pixar movie. And it was just really crazy to me, being an adult now,
Yeah.
It was that message was so potent in the film, and it was like, wow, kids are really not going to get this. So passion and purpose, that's a great way to put it. At first, I didn't think of it like that. I was just like, they did that. I was mind blown by how well thought out this script and the cinematic pieces and everything kind of is blended.
Did it motivate you or anything afterwards?
It did make me feel a lot.
It
did make me
catchphrases, but
yeah, pretty much. It did inspire to not waste time, and
Okay.
You never really know. This man walked into a manhole after avoiding death like 4 times in a row. So,
I know. He really
Which is bullshit, because you really don't die from that. You would have broke your leg or something, or hurt something,
right?
but you wouldn't have died.
Exactly what I was thinking.
We don't know this man's situation. He could have had an underlying condition. Maybe he had COVID. Who knows? Anyway, go ahead.
Maybe,
Yeah. That's what it was.
He was able to walk out the hospital like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. I want to stay. Everybody, you guys all made great points about it not being a real kids film, but the points that they made. But I want to let you know, like, this movie, we're gonna basically now talk about basically the ending, and I'll get all y'all's opinion. But I noticed Pixar's been really like pulling on heartstrings and touching stuff. Inside Out, when Bing Bong died, I cried. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I cried.
That shit hurt. Okay. and then this movie almost got me. It almost got me, but in my opinion, the ending was not strong enough. Because of the fact, and you guys, I'm hoping that I'm welcome for you to disagree. But in my opinion, I felt like everything happens for a reason, and 22 finally had purpose and a reason to want to be living a life on Earth. And I felt like once he gave her that opportunity, or I don't know what the pronoun was for 22, honestly. But once 22 had that chance to go back, I thought that was going to be it. Like, everything happened for a reason. He was going to be happy to go into the afterlife, whatever, and then you'd be sad. Like when Big Bang died, like his whole purpose was really just to get somebody who was scared to go out and try and live their life to see what they've been missing. And he's served his purpose. And he also got to have his great musical moment. He said he would die happy if he did perform with her. So I thought that he was going to now go into afterlife happy. Not only did he get to do his performance, but he also did get 22 to see things differently and want to live. So I was happy with that. But then he gets to go back to Earth. And that deflated me. I was like, it's kind of a little too happy ending for this serious-ass adult movie.
Yeah.
Who wants to take it first? If you agree or disagree that the ending wasn't strong enough, or how you felt about the ending? Who wants to jump on it?
I will jump on that
All right.
because I do understand your point in regards to, it's so happy ending fairy tale. Yay, he gets to go back. But I think because of the whole movie practically is based around death, like he died, that's why he is where he is. I think they wanted to soften the blow toward the end, or at least let him have that second chance. But what really bothered me more than him having that second chance was the fact that I would have liked to at least seen an interaction with them both being back on Earth. Who would have 22 been born to be? Right. Yeah, like if they would have gave us a little glimpse of that, even if he would have woken up in the hospital and he's just walking by the baby ward and you see something that looks similar to 22, right. I think that would have been cute, right. Even though when you see that when she jumps into the little pit when she's going down to Earth, when she's jumping down, it looks like they took her to a European area, because on the Earth it kind of looked like Europe, Russia, she fell in that
States at all.
General area. So I was like, oh, that's
it.
They won't be able to connect. Not saying, she probably didn't go somewhere nice in Europe, but, the fact that their characters weren't able to at least reconnect at the end in some way.
So that's what disappointed you about the ending, but you still, still were good with the ending.
I was straight with the ending.
Okay,
I just
that time to think about it. That's why I'll move on to somebody else. Cause
I'm more neutral when it comes to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't bother me, but it did because I really wanted that interaction, not the fact that he went to Earth. That interaction kind of just bothered me. The interaction
probably would have made me feel better about him going back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I was hoping that he would just go be happy that he got to have that performance that he had, because it was not going to be more than what he thought his life was going to change after that. He said, what's next? He's like, we're just doing it again tomorrow. So in my opinion, if he's achieved everything that he's going to achieve, and so he should just be happy that he got that moment, and he's going to afterlife while giving 22 another shot. Everything's okay. Tell me what you think about that. How did you feel about the ending?
The ending, like Iris said, it just felt like they were trying to soften the blow, but I would have really, really liked to see Disney and Pixar's envisionment of heaven with all these staircases.
Oh, you wanted to go there.
I wanted to see what the hell they're on, because I know damn well that Walt Disney is a motherfucking Illuminati that's never dying.
Oh my God. And they have his head frozen somewhere and he's alive, and he's hooked up to an electronic body. You know what?
You know what? Y'all gonna laugh at me, but
I'm not laughing at you. I just didn't expect it from you. But go ahead.
No.
I respect your.
I thought I was crazy with the zombie apocalypse stuff, but okay.
Come on, bring it, bro.
It's. I really feel that because of this movie, Disney Pixar, they know a lot more than what they're putting out there into the world. The fact they just put out a movie
This
that's
is the
this
clip that's
good.
going on Instagram, just so you know. Go, okay, come on, bring it.
The fact that that the movie was this good and captured such real human emotions and put it in a movie that was able to mix it for being a kids movie. Damn well not for kids, but
right.
Jeez, it's like they teased us this whole time. You know, from the beginning of the movie when he first died, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see what is up those stairs, because I know they know something. This Jerry Terry world that they got going on.
Something. Oh my Lord.
Yes.
You
The
know
Jerry Terry stuff, all this, the fact that it was so simple for them to put that in a movie, someone somewhere in the Walt Disney Pixar universe envisioned all of that.
Right.
Because they
So
died.
you want to see
because they died.
They died and came back.
The story.
And
just
they
like
know
Walt
what's up.
Disney. Just like Walt Disney.
Okay. You heard it here first, Movie Lingo. Conspiracy theory birth. All right. So you heard it.
Okay, said it first. Remember that. Go, man.
So, Dad Panther.
He's like, I ain't got shit to say to that dumbass shit. I'm done. Whatever.
How do you follow it up? Dad Panther, please tell me how you felt about the ending. If it was strong enough, based off all you heard, do you have a response?
No, it's okay. You can say
I don't know how I follow that up, other than saying, starting off by saying we're all officially on the list, thanks to Ken. So I always feel like exactly. So
definitely watching me.
I get to the ending, so you can understand how I felt about the ending. There were some moments that I think kind of trended with the same thing, and it was like they don't really explain the afterlife, and I understand what Kay's talking about, but I think they hit it home where the fact of we all want to know what happens next. We all want to know why. We all want to know the purpose, especially whether they planned it for this I think they did plan it for the original release this year or last year, which would go for what Kay's saying. With the pandemic, more and more, with everything going on, regardless of country you live in, people are asking why. What's the purpose of this? So the timing is great on it, but there's certain parts they never continue to let you know. They didn't let you know, but they allowed you to have the conversation of what if. For instance, the Jerrys and the Terry.
Right.
How I took it is the taller ones, or you can look at them as angels or whatever the case is, the taller ones had growth. They learned that there's a gray area. There's something to play. Not everything is hell or heaven. But the short one, he had stunted growth.
Because he was stubborn.
Focused. Exactly.
He's focused on one thing, so he didn't mature. I like that.
Didn't have compassion in certain things. There was a character, I can't remember I think Diggs' his name. He was Jefferson and Hamilton. He played the neighbor that was sitting in the barbershop chair. And his interaction with Jerry, where he, kind of got pulled to the afterlife. And we all have moments where you're texting and driving, you shouldn't be, and your whole life flashes before your eyes. You go through something, whatever the case is, and you kind of have those moments where you kind of see something and you have a different perspective. You open up with saying, "Hey, look, how did this change you?" And Kay was like, "Hey, it made me think about, what I'm doing as an adult moving forward." And they never continued to show that. And like you said I would have enjoyed that as well. Not enjoyed. I don't want to use something like that, but I think it would have really sent the message home had he played that show and then something else happened. Because some people, you have them where they dodge bullets and, he fell in the manhole, he came back, he nursed himself to health 17 months later, whatever. He plays the show and then tragically he loses his life. You don't have to show that. You can show, the hospital machine showing that slow beep and grabbing that from the audience where they're like, oh man, he's going. And as he's going, 22 is coming down, and you're seeing that conversation of for every life there's a death, that cycle that goes on. And
I can see it now. If they were passing each other, that would have been
exactly.
He basically was like, "Hey, you live your best life."
He's on that escalator. You can see in the far right. You can see him going down. You just know that's 22. And I just looked at it as like they missed an opportunity with that conversation in the barbershop, which was an awesome one to be like.
That was the best of the scene.
that's Ashley Larry from the Chappelle Show. But for him to say, hey, listen, I know you're looking at me as a barber, but there's a purpose. Like I had a kid, I had a daughter, things changed, and I found a purpose. We all go through something like that.
The passion is not your purpose, yeah.
And with that character, like I said, Diggs, it wasn't anything that they went back on to show that that moment where he thought he lost his life changed his perspective on life. Or maybe you see him somewhere else and he's telling somebody, no, man, I went vegan, man. You got to stop eating that processed food. Like, showing that some people go through a change and some people are like Jerry that don't. But to fast forward to the ending from what I heard was 22, they did have an ending where 22 went to India. So when Iris said, hey, look, I saw over the area where they were pointing her, she was supposed to pop up in India and you were going to see her live her life there and something kind of give you closure. And they thought about whether or not they were going to give closure or not. And how I took it is we're having a conversation of what could be. And a year or two from now, if not the end of this year, there's college classes or high school classes that are going to have the conversation about this movie. And so I think by them doing a good job and allowing us to connect to these characters, we all wanted to see more. We wanted closure. We wanted a Hallmark moment, however you want to put it. But I think that added to the effect of, hey, look, yeah, he didn't pass. Yeah, the scene might have not been a tearjerker, but it hammered it home that you can have a conversation about this. You can have a conversation of whether or not Disney does know where all the kids are going. I don't know. I'm just saying. I thought it was a decent ending.
You thought the ending was decent?
I thought it was decent.
All right. I got you. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to rate this, and I'm going to start with Everything's Okay. And Everything's Okay after you give your rating. If you need to just bounce, you do your thing.
All right.
Okay, and we'll make sure we factor your rating in. But give us your rating out of 1 to 10, your movie lingo rating, and why. And if you need to immediately bounce right after that, it's quite all right. We'll just, like, in your square cycle the trailer or something.
All right. So my honest rating of this movie, Eddie.
Iris, you tracking this? Okay, go ahead.
My bad, guy. This movie's getting a 10 out of me.
Oh!
It
was that good to you?
I like this movie, Eddie.
What?
I was not ready. I was not ready for this. Like when you guys were talking about it in the chat, and I was misspelling it. I didn't know what this movie was. I didn't even know it was animated. I didn't know it was Pixar.
I wasn't gonna tell the word you misspelled it, but thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was gonna keep it to myself.
No, it's all good. This is background information at this point. It's like I really wasn't expecting a movie like that, and it blew my mind. So it has to get a 10. That's it.
But you were sober when you watched it. I thought.
And
I expected if you had like went into Trippy Town, you know,
then he would have gave it an 11 or a 12.
I guess.
Well, I haven't done that yet. So,
okay, all right.
I'm sure it does deserve like a 15 or a 20, but.
Whoa.
Hey,
I'm
sure when you're in your deep meditative thoughts, that movie will do some things to you.
Okay.
But
so that movie moves you. So I felt like this moves you more than when Bing Bong died.
Oh wow, Bing Bong! This was a really good movie.
Okay, all right. Bing Bong's death was probably the biggest moment in Pixar history for me.
Top five movies ever. I'm gonna say like that.
You did say that after you watched it. You did say top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
All right.
Just because of how good it was.
All right, Iris, you got that 10 rating, right?
Okay. Yeah, I got it. That's the 10.
All right. So listen, everything's okay. We appreciate you, man. If you got to run, we understand. If not, I'm glad you're sticking around, Iris.
Yeah, we can do it real quick. I'll stay right here.
Okay. I am giving it an 8, and the only reason why I'm giving it an 8 is because of how the ending was. I wanted a little more from the ending. Other than that, it was really good.
Okay. The Dad Panther.
I'm gonna go ahead and follow up with Iris with an 8 as well. I mean, again, people of color being not the minority in the movie, the lighting on it amazing, the texture of the clothing, the wool, the music, the history behind that. When Tina Fey and the director for Inside Out actually were going to make the main character white, and that was the whole plan of it. And as they talked, I can't remember the person's name, he actually became the co-director to this movie and became the second or the first person of color that was a director of a Pixar movie. And this new character was the second person of color since Coco, which was the first character. So again, big ups to both those movies. But having a conversation with this jazz musician who's done Broadway and all this other stuff, the conversation switched to, you're going to have to show what jazz is. And if you show what jazz is, you're showing the history behind multiple different cultures and then like that. And that conversation changed the role of the character being white to switching the character being a person of color. And that's what we saw change the landscape of this movie. The only reason I'm not giving it a 9, I would be hard pressed to pull a 10, but a 9 was because the ending, I understood what they were doing with the ending and the possibilities they can use, but there was other things where, like I said, they didn't touch up on his rival, but they call him his rival, but you only saw him one time in the barbershop. There was nothing of showing growth with him. The girl that was playing the trumpet, you can see the progression of, I'm frustrated with this trumpet. I'm not going to play it anymore. Listen to this. You know, this does sound good. Never mind. I'll think about it tomorrow. We all have those moments, and watching a young adult have that moment as well. Mm-hmm. And seeing, to me, what resonated was something I learned maybe 5 or 6 years ago. One of my passions, or something I'm good at, I don't know that I'm good at it, is working with the team and growing and coaching. Like, so when I was watching it, I was like, no, his thing isn't playing the piano. His thing is touching a kid, a young adult, or someone and putting his coaching ability or growth into somebody else. That's what gets him excited. That's what gets flowers, plants the seeds. And so a lot of stuff I really enjoy with the movie. The ending could have been more powerful, more impactful, but I think this is only the beginning for Pixar as far as this young adult movie range audience. So right. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yeah, I feel like we're all pretty much saying the same thing, even though we all have different avenues that we're taking.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still all saying the same thing. The ending could have been a lot stronger for me. You know, I agree with you guys 100%. And Ron, you brought us a good point. You know, when they're trying to show what the passion versus purpose is, and his purpose seems to be the same way he helped 22 is the same way he was trying to help the student that was playing, but 22 ended up like taking it to the next level. And it's like she showed up to say, "Talk me out of quitting." She didn't really want to quit. You know, it was like, "Hey, I want to quit. Talk me out of it." You know, like, and it's pretty much
every day.
Right, we all do that. If I'm thinking something, I'll call somebody and I hope they'll be like, no, you got this, keep going. I'll be like, thank you. I just want to make sure I'm not making the wrong decision. We all do it. At 40 years old, Iris at 21 years old forever, and everything's okay however you are. I'm not gonna say how old that is. You know, we all do it. We all do it. You know, we already have our minds made up. This motherfucker. Okay. We already have our minds made up, but we still go to people for reassurance. You know, to make sure they push us in the direction that we're hoping that we really want to go. And so I'm glad that you picked that up. I meant to mention that earlier, Ron, the Dad Panther, thank you, sorry. I'm glad you picked it up and pointed that out. My rating.
To be honest, if you've been rocking with us from day one, Movie Lingo, you already know who I am. You know where you can find me. Like some government thing out.
Yeah,
I'm already
sorry.
that so we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you know, it's something I gotta get used to. That's why you gotta, you know. Anyway, my rating is gonna still be because of my disappointment of the ending. It's gonna be 8 out of 10 as well. So what's our overall rating, Iris?
Wait, we said 18, 20, 26, and
your head? Oh, she's not good. Let me get the calculator just in case.
All right, what's going on over
there?
It's
at 8. It's an 8.5 because you said 8 as well, so that was 34 divided by 4. Okay, yeah, that's 8.5.
Killing that math, playing it.
Get a 9. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so it'll be a 9. Since we're gonna round up.
We're gonna round up. So
really, hey Eddie, real quick.
Yeah, what's up, man?
One thing I just wanted to add as to why I gave this thing a 10. If you guys peeped, what do they send the little young souls through in order to get to their mentor? They're, you know, they go through a door, right?
Right.
Pixar, Monsters Inc. They going through a door. Boom, you know.
Full
it just
circle?
ties a lot. Full circle.
Ties a whole lot together. The door is everything. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Listen, the man was sober when he got this. Imagine if he was on the trippy shit.
God, no, I can only imagine the in-depth scenario that they would pull out of their fucking head.
Drive safely, going where you need to go. Don't.
Yep.
I want to see you next week.
Trying to go see
Don't
if the
fuck this
afterlife
up.
is real.
Do not make a Soul 2. I will fuck you up. Do not make a Soul 2. Okay? Be safe.
Baseball player.
He will whip your ass in death.
Yes.
Damn.
Be safe.
You heard it here.
I'll be safe. All right, movie lingo.
All right. We love you, man.
Everything's okay. Your boy's out. Do
All
I
right,
hang
man.
up? What do I do? Just leave the camera?
I'm gonna just drop you. Actually, go ahead.
Yeah,
You
just
good.
Drop me.
Take us in the bathroom.
I'm just gonna. Hey, there we go. All right, so our official movie lingo rating is a 9 for Disney Pixar Soul. Unfortunately, Everything's Okay had to bounce, but we got his info and his rating, and we're good with that. And Iris and the Dad Panther, I'm glad you guys can still stick it out with us. I felt like we all actually had very good points to make on this movie, and I hope if you still have watched this all the way through and haven't seen it, I hope you go back and watch it, and I hope it didn't spoil anything for you, but I think we actually did pretty good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. We didn't really say exactly like what happens in the movie word for word.
Right.
Just like more the themes and genres that it hits on.
Just
But
more, yeah. So, I mean, this actually wasn't that bad of a review. All right, so we thank you guys for joining us for another movie lingo discussion. I'm Eddie Lingo. We got the Dad Panther. We did have Everything's Okay with us, and we'll see him on the next one, and the beautiful Iris. And we thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you on the next one.
What are we waiting for?
Wait, not me!